You're watching local coverage you can count on. This is Wayne 15 News at noon.
The woman who was shot while driving near McMillan Park Sunday has died. Good afternoon, I'm Emily Dwyer. Pat has the day off. According to the coroner's office, the victim is 20-year-old Ayanya Coker. Police say she was driving down the 3000 block of Euclid Avenue just before 3 in the afternoon when another car pulled up and shot at her. Coker then crashed into a parked pickup truck at the intersection of Euclid and Eckhart Street. She was taken to a hospital with life-threatening injuries where she died the next day. The autopsy found that Coker died from a gunshot wound and her death has been ruled a homicide. A male passenger who was also in the car with her was not hurt. No suspect information has been released at this time. New information this afternoon. The Oxford, Michigan School District is facing two $100 million lawsuits for its role in the school shooting. 4 students died and many were injured. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of a student who was shot in the neck and her sister who was next to her when it happened. This news comes after prosecutors say the school counselors met with the accused shooter Ethan Crumbley and his parents 3 hours before the shooting. A teacher found a drawing on his desk that showed a bullet and the words "blood everywhere." Prosecutors say the school official wanted to send him home, but his parents refused. The school district, superintendent, principal, 2 counselors, and many others are named in the lawsuit. Crumbley and his parents are facing more than 20 charges. After 22 years of serving Huntington, the city's police chief is retiring. But he isn't done working just entirely yet. Chief Chad Hacker is leaving his position to accept a new job at the federal government in Fort Wayne. Hacker says his daily focus as chief of police was to lead the department in better shape than when he started and to put officers in the best position possible to do their jobs. Hacker's last day is tomorrow. The process to select the next chief of police is already underway. Half of Indiana's counties are now in the highest risk level of COVID-19 spread. Allen County Health Commissioner Dr. Matthew Sutter says it's disturbing that the county has returned to the red stage. He says the state has a fairly high bar and it's hard to get into red, so that means there is a lot of transmission happening. Our area had 2 previous surges, one in 2020 and another in late summer when the Delta variant cases first appeared. Dr. Sutter says the surge that we are experiencing now is exceeding the one from a few months ago. Allen County isn't currently under a mask mandate, and a majority of businesses are back to full capacity. As of last week, fewer than 40% of the county's population was fully vaccinated. Governor Eric Holcomb has said on many occasions he will not implement any state restrictions this go-around. As far as counties go, it all depends.
So certainly I've had considerations for this. In fact, I spend a lot of time at 3 a.m. in the morning thinking about this. The issue is most of the transmission that we're seeing are in areas that don't lend themselves to restrictions. So we see it in households, we see it in small gatherings. We've seen a lot of people with transmission in Thanksgiving gatherings. All of these are where people are making personal choices.
Dr. Sutter adds that we will always have to live with COVID-19, and it's just hard to predict what it will look like over the next few years. The Allen County Public Library is changing its COVID-19 protocols while the county is in red. So starting Monday, all in-person programs will be canceled and business hours will be reduced. Curbside delivery will still be available, as will virtual programs and reserving conference rooms. Masks will not be required, but they will be highly recommended. The protocol will remain at all of its locations until 2 weeks after Allen County returns to orange. The library says it is already seeing an increase in staff members who are unable to work due to COVID. A full list of the reduced hours is on Wayne.com. IU Health is asking the Indiana National Guard to help as COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations increase across the state. The Guard will assign teams of 6, and they will serve in 2-week increments. They will consist of 2 clinical and 4 non-clinical service members. This decision comes after COVID-related hospitalizations increased more than 20% within the past week. That's according to the Indiana Department of Health. IU Health says this request is for most of its hospitals. Vaccine makers are racing to update their COVID-19 shots against the Omicron variant. Pfizer expects to have an Omicron-specific candidate ready for the FDA to consider in March, with initial batches ready to roll out. Moderna is predicting 60 to 90 days to have a candidate ready for testing. And other manufacturers, including Johnson & Johnson, are also pursuing possible updates. Experts say it is critical to see how fast companies could produce a reformulated dose and prove it works, because the Omicron variant will not be the last that we face. As young as 16 are now eligible for the booster shot of their COVID vaccine. The FDA signed off on Pfizer's request this morning, officially clearing a key hurdle for that age group. Boosters were previously okayed for ages 18 and up. In a statement, Pfizer CEO praised the decision as a critical milestone in responding to the virus.
Now, your first weather from the live Doppler 15 Fury Weather Center.
Well, we are seeing some clouds, and believe it or not, we've seen a couple of flurries and snow showers as a weather system with most of its energy up north has really kept most of that energy. We're not really seeing anything at the lake. This is the Lake James camera from the Dry Dock Marina, but we are looking at a wind chill still into effect. Still feels like the upper 20s, even though temperatures have warmed to the mid-30s, so at least we're above freezing. We are going to get a little bit warmer. Here are the scattered snow showers that have developed. We could see a snow shower or a flurry or even a rain shower. Those are going to be very light, and they will pass through early this afternoon. And then most of the energy for this weather system heads towards the north. So temperatures right now into the mid-30s. We expect those highs this afternoon into the lower 40s. I'll talk more about that and about some big changes in your forecast. You may like a few of these coming up.
All right, Greg, thank you. Arts United and the City of Fort Wayne are banding together for a new initiative. The city and the organization are expanding the center and its art programs. Arts United is the home of many art forms, including architecture, performing, paint, and more. This announcement is helping the City of Fort Wayne grow and be prosperous both in and outside the community.
You know, more than ever, Fort Wayne is in a very competitive environment. We no longer compete with just a few cities in Indiana. Now we're competing with cities like Chicago and Detroit and Cincinnati. And the more we can bring to the table to attract employers to come to Fort Wayne, and the more we can attract people to move here, the more equipped we are for the future.
United Arts is also seeking funds to help expand and modernize the center. Still to come this afternoon, former Senator Bob Dole is lying in state at the U.S. Capitol. And it's time to get a head start on your tax returns. The advice that experts are sharing after the break.